Yo, what's up everybody? It's your boy Icy, and today I plan on making a video about Chick-fil-A and the LGBs calling it homophobic. But then I discovered that's even more ridiculous. To be honest, when I saw this new batch of Twitter drama, or should I say X drama, I was pretty damn shocked by what I saw. To my legitimate surprise, it was drama revolving around the analog horror community. First there was Baddington, then there was Squimpus, and now it's UrbanSPOOK. No, this time there's no pedophilia involved, alright? So for those who don't know who UrbanSPOOK is, he's a very talented content creator who incorporates his drawings into analog horror videos and makes a cool little series about it. This whole controversy revolves around the analog horror series, The Painter, which in my opinion is one of my favorite analog horror videos on the platform. What I love about The Painter is that it actually managed to scare me, unlike most other analog horror projects. This is because the series is most unique than other ones, because it goes way beyond the limits of what people go for in horror. But, you know, because of that, people are complaining like babies because they got their comfort zone hurt. So the whole thing that's going on right now is because of a bunch of petty snowflakes in the analog horror community that was, in quotations, rightfully criticizing UrbanSPOOK for going over the edge with this horror series. They were complaining about The Painter and its way of extreme horror, saying that it promotes sensitive topics and dangerous influence on people or some shit. It's so fucking retarded, because the first thing I'll say is, why the ever-living fuck do you think he puts a warning sign on each of the videos? His goal is to scare people. That's the whole objective of horror. Horror is something that is meant to keep you up at night. The main thing that puts the whole drama at its peak is Urban's response. This is what he said.
You're such a fucking pussy. Just because extreme horror doesn't fit into your little autistic free horror taste doesn't mean that there isn't a place for it. Use your platform to talk about things you like instead of shitting on actual creators, cunt.
Bro, I didn't know Urban was this based. Okay, maybe he didn't have to be a bleast, but to be fair, I would be pretty pissed the fuck off as well. Now everyone is aggravated like kindergartner little shits, and I wanted to honestly shoot myself reading these corny ass tweets, considering every single one of them were fucking clones. And I'm gonna read some of them, and I promise I won't shit talk every one of them.
We need to stop praising series that rely entirely on shock value to carry their horror. Stuff like UrbanSPOOK drives me nuts, because the only horror it has relies entirely on trying to describe the most vile thing possible with little else.
So first, let me talk about this dude Pastra. Someone told me this guy has the worst takes imaginable, so this tweet originates the whole issue with shock value. Pastra argues that UrbanSPOOK uses sensitive and vile topics to add horror to a series, to carry it, in quotations. Now here's what gets me. The whole thing with shock value is the main critique people have been using against UrbanSPOOK. This is the issue with this argument though. When Pastra complains about shock value, I think that they're just whining about the gruesome scenarios described in the series. And Pastra acts like shock value is the big turnoff of The Painter. But that argument is complete bullshit. The use of shock value makes horror the way it is. Creators need to add more horrific details to make their horror project unnerving to hear. The only thing Pastra is complaining about is that UrbanSPOOK goes over the edge with it, which I don't understand why that's such a bad thing. Artists should always feel willing to push the boundaries for a more impactful product, but thanks to the community, analog horror creators must stick to the audience's specific criteria, or else they'll be shamed for it. That's what's so fucking sad about it. However, I do see where some people come from when they talk about shock value. I mean, it's clear that they're referring to the fuck Toy Corey and the Breeding Mount May shit, which is what I'm pretty sure is the main thing people are so upset about. Fuck Toy Corey, however, you have to be able to let that slide, because, dude, it proved how over the edge UrbanSPOOK is willing to go, which is a good thing in my opinion. Now the whole thing with the horse, I understand why people don't take that seriously at all. In my opinion, I think the most convincing evidence of, in quotations, shock value that people are upset about was either that or the pocket pussy. But besides that, I don't understand why people have to be so upset about shock value in general.
It's legitimately disgusting how much attention UrbanSPOOK has garnered despite his tasteless depictions of sad and other sensitive topics. He sets a dangerous precedent that analog horror can be insensitive and lack any thoughtful story, and still be successful by relying on shock value.
Get a load of this fucking guy. The argument these Twitter kids make that pisses me off is the speculation that UrbanSPOOK does this for attention. I don't even need to support that case because it's self-explanatory on how dog shit that idea is. Also, all these people need to stop abbreviating this shit instead of making me look up what SA means. Like, just say sexual assault if you're trying to make that point. This kid argues that UrbanSPOOK is promoting sexual assault and other sensitive topics. This whole argument makes deadass no sense whatsoever. I don't know why people consider this series the epitome of conveying sensitive topics, when you have Harmony in Horror and Mandela Catalog, which also contain sensitive topics. No disrespect to any of these analog horror series, they're all amazing. But Harmony in Horror portrays a story that involves a man performing satanic rituals on children to turn them into lifelike dolls. Mandela Catalog contains suicide, and if you even count it, Five Nights at Freddy's, the main story is about children being murdered and their bodies being hidden in animatronics for years. Oh, but if it has something to do with sexual assault then that's dangerous to the public. That's gotta go. This guy needs to be called out for and shamed. The logic makes no damn sense. Oh, and another thing I'd like to add is this guy who responded to this shit.
Borrow said, dangerous. Yet Borrow, I'm sorry people are pissing and shitting on your comfort zone.
I fucking love this guy, bro.
It's not even horror, it's just torture porn Swedish style for people who get off on body horror.
This tweet is a great example of how these people on Twitter are no help to the controversy at all. You can have your criticisms of the series, and I'll be welcome to debate with you about it. But when you have people like this guy making wild-ass assumptions of what the series is conveying, it just makes the situation even more dumb. These guys are saying that they are rightfully criticizing UrbanSPOOK and that he's a piece of shit who can't take criticism, but they aren't any better than him. They have a whole-ass Discord server that will ban somebody if they say something good about UrbanSPOOK, along with getting flamed for speaking out about it. It's even worse with the amount of dick riding these clowns have for each other, especially for this little kid. It's honestly hilarious how hypocritical these people are, when most of the time they're not even criticizing the Painter series, but flat out shit-talking it. I mean, they're even attacking anybody who even supports UrbanSPOOK, including a lot of impersonating fake accounts of UrbanSPOOK. That really goes to show you know what I'm saying? And then they get mad when Urban responds, calling their shit an autistic furry horror taste. You know what they say, they dish it out but they can't take it. Fucking stupid. Aside from all the retardation on Twitter, there have been somewhat valid and reasonable points against the Painter, one of them being the lack of a compelling story. The thing people don't understand is that not all pieces of horror need to have a crazy story to it. With the Painter, what story is there to tell exactly? Like, the whole thing is a police investigation, and the only story, in quotations, that is necessary to include are the clues that are hidden in each video. Clues that consist of the security footage, connections between the murders, the witness. There shouldn't be some heavy lifting story about serial killers or a particular protagonist in this. In my opinion, this is a more realistic interpretation of a police investigation, incorporated into a VHS horror layout. Someone did make a valid argument about how the series only progresses with murder after murder after murder, which I can understand. I do think that there should be an episode that focuses on connecting the dots specifically, or gathering up the leads to who these killers are and who their next target could be. But this argument is the most rational compared to everything I've seen on Twitter. But the point is that not every analog horror needs a genius planned fictional story. I personally believe that The Painter is an excellent interpretation of something so terrifyingly realistic with realistically created antagonists to where that something like it could happen in real life. That's what makes the whole thing so scary to think about, and it's very intriguing. I also gotta give it to the artwork as well. They tie in perfectly with this kind of unique way of evil. Also, I know that there's controversy around Urban selling Fuck Toy Corey shirts for merch, which I guess is fucked up, but at the same time, I'm still trying to think of my stance on that. But that's really beside the point. In conclusion, this whole drama really makes the hypocrisy of these snowflake Twitter kids stand out more. The Painter shouldn't even be considered controversial for successfully pushing the boundaries of what people are comfortable with. I mean, most VHS projects have consistently failed to scare me because it's the same shit again and again. It's mainly with the FNAF shit, and it's so easily desensitizing. But UrbanSPOOK's work is definitely an improvement for this stereotype, and made me feel a lot better about the state of analog horror. I hope people will take the time to understand that at least. Alright, that's all I got for this video. I recommend you guys check out Lustful Sacraments by Perturbator. It's such a good fucking album, and it's so evolutionary to the synthwave genre. Alright, that's it for this video. I'll see y'all later.